during this class, we're going to start recording, so we have this later in case you want to go back and watch some of it. So I want to quickly introduce myself because I know many of you may have just seen a class that sounded cool on the command group or another group that I shared it on, and that's fine, and we're glad you're here. So I want to introduce myself and then quickly talk about the why for this class. So my name is Kimber Walton. I hold a few roles within the Keller Williams organization. So I am a licensed agent out of KW South Valley. So that is based in a suburb of Utah, and it's getting really cold here. So thoughts for all of us that are in those type of climates. I'm also the director of marketing for the KW Home Hub. So what the KW Home Hub is 3 locations within Salt Lake County, which is the largest populace in Utah, the largest populated county. And we do a lot of real estate in those 3 offices. So I support all of the marketing efforts specifically for our agents within those 3 offices. And then last but not least, I'm also the regional technology trainer for the state of Utah. Utah is one of, if not the smallest region within Keller Williams. And so it is a role that in this region you're able to do in addition to other things. So that is my background, way background, why I even came to Keller Williams. I was actually hired as the market center administrator. That is a financially focused role. And I am a very right-brained, extroverted human being. So I made it 3.5 years. I loved it. And um, I evolved into a different role, taking on the technology journey that we were on, or that we began around that time that I transitioned into a different role. I was also starting a family, so different priorities as far as time that I had. And so that is my history. So that now you guys know me. And I am also going to tell you the why behind this class. So I didn't write it from scratch. I actually used a cool marketing report from a content creation company that I follow heavily. So we'll talk about them, like I'll source that. But I got this marketing report, and it was really a summary of 2024 and what's to come for agents in 2025. And as I read it, I thought, this is amazing. Also, how do I simplify this for my agents? That is how my brain is wired for some reason. This is awesome. How can we make it simple for agents to implement in their business? And so I took that data from this awesome report that we'll go through today and then created a content checklist for you all. Also, because I am a millennial that tries to sometimes act Gen Z, I did a what's in and what's out, right? In for 25, out for 25, again, based on data sourced from top agents, so that we can just find out if we're in, right? Are we doing the things that are in, or do we need to retire some things? Or are there things that are out? So that's what you can expect for today. We're going to talk about a lot of data. We're going to simplify these things. And this isn't, I taught this in person, so I definitely love to rein in a training room, but I'm going to do my best with virtual. As far as the expectation, I love classes where we can just go through curriculum, have it be a little bit more by design, right? I'm teaching a lot of Keller Williams University courses recently, and I love having curriculum. That being said, I want this to be, it's a fireside chat. Me and all of you, we're just in a big circle in a training room, and we are masterminding and going through some of these best practices and trends. And so I'll have a couple of stopping points where if anyone wants to chime in on thoughts that they have, especially questions, we'll have those. Because we're in a digital environment, please raise your digital hand just so everybody doesn't talk over each other and we can hear your awesome questions. So that's setting the pace for today, setting the room, the virtual room, and we'll get going. Okay, so here are the key findings overall for 2024 as far as real estate agents and what's going on in our industry, specifically in regards to how we get business and marketing. So there is an increased marketing investment for from agents. So the vast majority of respondents, so again, this is a survey, plan to maintain or increase their marketing budget in the coming year. So even though, there is a lot going on, maybe there's less going on, I guess, in the market, agents are committed to still maintaining the budget that they have set for this year and potentially even increasing it. I should say before we get too far into this, so the most of this data, I will tell you, I will add plenty of commentary and I created the checklist, but a lot of this data comes from a content creator called Luxury Presence. You guys have probably heard of them. They are what I would consider a premium service for real estate agents. Specifically, what they do is websites. They will do social media advertising. That is an actual company that agents can leverage and use. I follow them because I feel like they do have a pulse on what agents need. And I think it is always good to kind of be in the know with that stuff. So there's my source. We'll talk about it a couple of times, but relevant for right now. Another key finding, ongoing focus on leads and branding. So generating high quality online leads remains a top marketing priority for top agents, followed closely by personal brand development, indicating the continuing rise of these two vital business components. So the notes I want you to be taking throughout this, specifically on things like this, where we're just talking about data, introspect, look at your own business. Do I have a focus on continually adding to my database through either cold reach out, lead generating? And do I have a focus on branding? Do I even have a brand? And where could that potentially help me to gain more traction with messaging? And then the next one is evolution of marketing channels. So business websites have overtaken social media as the most important marketing tool for 2024. SEO and video marketing are also gaining significant traction. We are going to talk about this in more detail throughout this class because I will tell you, when I first saw this data, I said, no way. Social media is number one. We're going to talk about the actual logistics of that statement, but that one was a surprising one for me. Underutilization of CRMs. So despite their proven effectiveness, more than 30% of solo agents do not use a customer relation management system at all. 30%. Again, I'm just telling you, this is data. It wasn't like Kimber wants to type what Kimber wants to type, right? So I challenged, when I taught this in person, I challenged the room that I was in. So if you are an agent that utilizes a CRM to systematically reach out to your database, then you are competitively ahead of 30% of your competitor of agents that don't. I like to frame things to know if I'm doing the right thing or not. And if you're not, you're going to gain a competitive edge. And also, may I just say, you'll gain a lot of leverage by utilizing a CRM as far as not even just recording data, recording information, but being able to more systematically maintain a relationship with your sphere. And then the last key finding, strategies of top performers. High earning professionals engage in more frequent and diverse marketing activities, with those using 5 or more marketing channels, reporting double the average gross commission income compared to those using fewer channels. So my first question, if I'm a student right now, is what are the 5 channels? We're going to go through that today. You are going to leave with 5 pillars that you can identify, how am I going to set a strategy for 2025 for content? In addition to the ins and outs, Gen Z edition. So you're going to leave it a lot. Okay, any ahas from just this page? It's okay if you don't have one. I'm just. Okay, we're good. We'll keep going. Okay, a few more key findings. So, optimistic income outlook. Despite challenging market conditions, an overwhelmingly majority of real estate professionals expect to increase their income in 2025. I love that. Anticipated market shifts. Real estate professionals predict a seller's market in 2025 with potential changes in buyer representation and an increase in dual agency transactions. Industry consolidation. There's an expectation of more agents leaving the business than usual, coupled with growth in real estate teams. That's interesting. And then the NAR outlook, National Association of Realtors. While most respondents see the value of their National Association of Realtors membership, a small minority are reconsidering their relationship with the organization, particularly solo agents. So that is, again, I like to share the key findings with you. Definitely not qualified to go in depth on some of those things specifically, but this is what your peers are saying, right, in these surveys. So I think that's very, very interesting. Okay, so now let's get into the fun part, the data around marketing specifically. I know we just kind of summarized the key findings. Now we're going to get into the details. So this chart is amazing. The highest priority 2024 marketing goal. The number one priority was to generate higher quality online leads. And then, as I mentioned, building the personal brand online was the second. So as the reported gross commission income of survey respondents increased, the importance of personal brand development increased too. For agents reporting 400,000 or more gross commission income, the importance of brand development and lead generation were nearly identical. So what that says to me is, as your business becomes more profitable, the need, or not even the need, the prevalence of people leaning into the brand more goes up, right? Why is that, do you think? Why would more successful agents be leaning into a brand more? I know it's fun and virtual. You can just be like, I'm just here for the content. I'm just going to hide. So I love to lean into the bold statement, success leaves clues. So more profitable agents that are selling more homes, they have learned something that maybe if we're not in that bracket, we haven't learned yet, which is brand just helps you tell your story. That is the main reason why we want a brand. It helps tell your story even when you're not there telling it. And the other piece that sometimes, as a new agent, so I have been in the business as far as a licensed agent for 4 years. So I definitely consider myself new and not a veteran compared to the people that I'm usually surrounded by on a daily basis. And that being said, I have already identified that if I build a brand, then potentially me building a huge business, then my brand can outlive me. I could eventually retire, sell my database as a real estate agent, and the brand is strong enough to keep that value, keep that going, keep that legacy worth leaving, right? So that is a cool little stat from this. Okay, here's the takeaway. As the real estate industry continues to evolve, professionals who adapt quickly to these trends, leveraging technology, diversifying their marketing strategies, and focusing on personal branding will be best positioned for success in 2024 and beyond. This report provides invaluable insights and best practices to help navigate that. So we're going to continue to go through the report, but I love that the two things that are bolded in this are those who adapt quickly will be best positioned. Honestly, I would dare say that that is just a universal statement. Those who adapt quickly will be best positioned. And we have probably dealt with one of the biggest changes the industry's dealt with this last year. And those of us that are adapting quickly are going to be best positioned. Okay, so you're looking at this and you might be completely confused. So I'm going to help you with this graph. I'm not great at some of these graphs, so I like to explain it a little bit more. So on the left side, you have the year of 2023. On the right side, you have the year of 2024. So what this is saying is there is a point at which this was the most important marketing channel and to what level as far as the respondents. And then in the next year, the same question where respondents identified. So let's go through each of these. So for example, your website, having a website as a real estate agent. In 2023, the people that responded to this survey said 44.2% said, which was almost the majority. Well, no, it wasn't the majority, social media was. But they said that that was their most important marketing channel. In 2024, it went up to 50.2%. So websites became that much more important to agents from one year to the next. Very interesting is, in addition to websites, is SEO, search engine optimization. So in 2023, it was identified 22.7% said it was the most important marketing channel, and it went all the way up to 34.7% in 2024. So big increase year over year. Those are tied very heavily together, right? Business websites, SEO. What surprised me was social media. Social media was about, looks like 52%, and the most important marketing channel in 2023, the agents responded, and it went down to below 43%, saying that it is now not the most important marketing channel in agents' businesses, and they are saying that their website is. Video marketing also took a huge jump. Events dropped down a little bit. So when I taught this in person, we kind of grouped together, like, what do you guys think? What are some of, what are you seeing in your local market, or what are you noticing in your business? The conversations that we had specifically around events, I personally feel are tried and true, and they are a great way to connect with people. They're also a great way to always continually have a reason to reach out and to always keep the essential pieces of the database contact information that you need clean and current. So that's how I define events. I think they're just going down a little bit in popularity because they're going through a rebrand almost. I'm noticing agents start to lean into micro events more. The invite 6 couples to the dinner party at their house, or to a local where they just rent out a room. There's more of that, honestly, just in general, for how inundated we are with social media and technology. People are craving those moments of connection and less about the mass, right? About everybody. And so that's my opinion. We kind of talked about it in the room when I taught it in person at one of our market centers, but that seems to be what everyone's saying for that. And as far as social media, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but again, with social, it still has its relevancy, but it is one of those things that people are actually downloading apps, installing apps that will make it so they don't use social media as much. We're almost trying to manage our attention a little bit more. Social media is here to stay, whether it evolves, whether platforms leapfrog each other in importance, and it is changing a little bit as far as the first place that people go to for a source. For a minute, it was switching to where people would immediately go look at Instagram to find whatever the thing was. Because we are being intentional about our social media time that we spend as consumers, now we're leaning a little bit back again to looking at, like, we for Google, we kind of are even using ChatGPT, AI sources a little bit more for sourcing information. But then when we're going to search people and vendors that we're going to use, we kind of are back into searching in Google. Not that I'm saying we ever fully left, but now that source, it gives us the quick thing. Because if I go to Instagram to go search a vendor or maybe go look for somebody that does that, guess what I'm prone to? Now doom scrolling for the next hour just because I was looking for the balloon vendor. However, if I jump on Google and look for the balloon arch vendor, I'm quickly going to find 2 or 3 options. And so there's just an example of where this data could potentially be showing up. And please raise your hand if you have any thoughts or questions as we go through things. Okay, so CRMs. As a regional tech trainer, I love talking about CRMs. So, are real estate professionals using CRMs in 2024? I gave you that stat at the beginning. What I think is cool is it actually is separate. The relationship with the CRM changes based on what type of agent you are. So, if you are a solo agent, you are more likely to not utilize a CRM. So if you're a solo agent not doing that, write the note down. I am going to utilize a CRM, whether it is the CRM that you already have available to you with Keller Williams, whether it's a different one that you're paying for, you utilizing a CRM when you weren't is already going to be an improvement as part of your 2025 strategy of being in front of more people more often. Team leaders. Teams are going to be more likely to use, it says, your brokerage CRM. That will be the reason why I think in general, agents are more likely to use a CRM, or I'm sorry, teams are more likely to use a CRM, is there is however many agents, however many personal sphere contacts, there are a lot of people to manage. And usually teams also are really great at having standards for communication and have that dialed in. So a CRM is almost survival when it comes to multiple people working on the same mission versus a solo agent really does not a great job, by the way, but they definitely attempt to do a good job about getting away with not having systems, not having tools, maybe writing notes about a contact or a client they talk to in their notes app. I've seen it all, right? And then this doesn't apply, again, if we're speaking through the lens of Keller Williams, brokerage owners. So I look at, well, let's use the independent brokerage owner as an example. They're obviously going to be using a paid CRM because they don't have a larger company, larger brand technology like Keller Williams to tap into. But I wanted to show you this just as a quick example of current usage by real estate professionals for CRM. Okay, now we're getting into the fun stuff. So I told you at the beginning, there is a stat about agents that have 5 channels that they consistently execute double their GCI. Okay, so we're just going to let that sit. So now I'm like, what are the 5 pillars? What are the 5 channels? So agents who use 5 or more marketing vehicles to promote their listings, build their business, report an average of double the GCI than people using 3 or 4. Great, Kimber, that's all you needed to tell me. Now I'm just going to do exactly what you tell me. So here are 5 for 25. That is the least creative statement you've probably ever heard, but we're going to go into each of these. So these are your content mediums. So your takeaway, the next slide, we're going to go through your full checklist and it will have this, and then it will also have our ins and outs. So you guys will have the full PDF to take away with you today. But this is what I want to hone in on first. These 5 channels. If you execute these 5 channels next year, what does that look like 12 months from now? That's kind of the question I want you to frame for yourself. So we're just going to make it as simple as possible. Social media posts. How often are we doing them a week? There are a lot of people that will say a lot of different things. Your top content creators, people heavily focused on video and getting out content and growing their social channels by a lot, are going to tell you you need to post 5 times a day. I say that because that doesn't need to be you, especially if you're doing 0 right now. And I need you to know that's what the top people are doing. So now your homework is identifying how much am I going to be able to commit to a week? Is it going to be 3 times? Is it going to be twice? What's most important is however many you're doing, ask yourself, can I consistently sustain that for the next 12 months? So whatever that number is. Then the next phase is going to be your website. So updated monthly, quarterly, what is it? This is going to change again by the type of website vendor you have. I have a really big spectrum of agents doing different things. I have agents that have a third-party vendor that set up a really awesome site, and they have a monthly that they pay, and they just send updates to them to execute once a month. Okay, great. Well, I'm an agent that sells less than 10 transactions a year. Don't know if that's in my budget model currently. Okay, great. You have a website with KW. You can, again, at minimum, once a month, twice a month, update a blog that will give you current content that's going on your site. You can go add a link at the top menu. Again, this is more that expert mode that you're going to want to lean into your market center tech trainer, your regional tech trainer to assist you with. But is there something you can update? Then post it on social, bring people back to your website. Again, it doesn't have to be fancy. We are going to talk about blogs being in. So I'm just giving you warning. But there will be some type of website update. Monthly, quarterly, at all, right? Some of us haven't even touched our website this year. And then the third one is email newsletter. This is probably, of all the hundreds of agents I've talked to, probably thousands, this is the most universal content strategy that I see agents use. Probably because part of the 36 touch is a bi-weekly email that bonus points if it has hyper-local information that is consistent and helps you connect with your database. How often are you doing this a month? Again, if you are a follow the model type of agent, you want to be sending 2 a month and have those be bi-weekly. Okay, the fourth one is client testimonials. So this is the one client, I put these 2 last because I want you to really listen when we talk about these 2. These 2 are probably the ones that agents are not doing as much, right? The email newsletter I told you, yes, we've got a good adoption of that overall. Client testimonials and video content are going to be the ones that are least adopted. But again, you executing these 5 channels next year is going to be how you're going to double your GCI. So client testimonials, the spirit of that is anytime that you work with somebody and it is a positive experience, or anytime, let's just say maybe it wasn't, anytime you work with a client, you want to get feedback on the experience. I have been teaching a class a lot the last few months about customer experience. This is a Keller Williams University course. But this is one thing that we want to make sure we have executed for our businesses in real estate, a system around every time I do a transaction, am I collecting a testimonial? So what is my system for collecting that? Whether it's an email that goes out at closing, whether it's a quick conversation that I already have comfortable and available in my head when I'm at closing, letting them know I'm going to be sending you a text message with a quick link that you can send me a review in Google. I am so grateful that I have been able to work with you, buyer, and I would appreciate your review. Simple as that, right? And then over 12 months, what does that look like? Now you have all of those reviews over 3 years, over 5 years, you've now built up a good bank of reviews. That's not where you stop though. So once I receive it, how do I communicate it? Because I cannot tell you the last time I looked up my agent that helped me sell a house and said, you know what, I just want to scroll through their reviews and see if people are giving them really good reviews. Oh, good. Everybody likes them. I do too, right? That's not top of mind for people. What is top of mind for people is if they're opening your newsletter and it's, oh, by the way, here's the testimonial we received. And if you've been to any one of my classes, you know I am an and, not or person. With marketing, it's huge. I'm not going to choose, do I put that in just the newsletter or do I do it on social? The answer is both. You do it on your newsletter and you post it on social. And then again, look at 12 months down the road. You've now strategically communicated the good experiences people are having by working with you. Last one, video. Everyone doesn't love it. Some people, there's like a love it or no way. Okay. Video content doesn't necessarily have to be your face. If that's the breaking news you hear from today, then I'll take it. Video content can be you behind the camera. I am okay with that. I do think facial recognition helps people meet somebody, even seeing eyes. This is actually human instinct. I get to know people more. However, it is better to have something than nothing. So if the video content is you scanning the house, you doing a voiceover walking through the walkthrough, maybe there's something weird about a furnace and you're just letting people know this is what you want to look for, like you're the educator, right, of real estate. You're talking about the market update and you have the graphic, but it's just a voiceover. That's okay. You have to have video going through your social channels in 2025. So the way that you're going to be able to consistently execute that is just calendaring the plan. And you already, if you're like me, up at the top, I already committed to 3 posts a week. One of them is going to be video. So good. I already feel great about where I'm going. So any ahas or questions from these 5 for 25 before we get into the full checklist?
For the newsletter, real quickly, do you do
Yeah.
that through like command designs, or do you do like a Canva one? Or like what do you recommend as is it supposed to be like, sometimes I get ones from realtors and they're like this long and I'm like, no one's gonna read that. But they look good. So what's your
Yeah.
recommendation on what to use and how much to put in it?
I love that. So I will tell you, this is my only disclaimer. I am team less is more. The reason why is I operate under marketing in the golden rule, which is I treat people how I want to be treated and I message how I want to receive messages, right? And maybe it could be my short attention span, but I'm going to bet there's a few people in your database that are also that way. However, I think another thing to focus on with newsletters is having predictability. So this is a bad example. Okay, I need to do a newsletter. So what time of year is it? Okay, so Thanksgiving's coming up. Maybe I can throw in like a gravy recipe or okay, so market. I think I saw a market update somewhere. I'll throw that in, right? So you're just basically making a craft twice a month versus I am a real estate agent in Salt Lake City, Utah. My content pillars are I send 2 newsletters a month. What those newsletters include, the first one of every month includes market specific data. In addition, it includes a testimonial I have of a vendor that I love and trust and want to make sure my sphere knows. And then I also have the most current events in our area. My second newsletter every month is heavily focused on whatever that is, right? But I should be able to, just as an elevator pitch, clearly tell you if you came and interviewed me, or heaven forbid, somebody really cool like Gary Keller or Jason Abrams interviews me. I would spend weeks being able to articulate that message as far as what I do for my marketing. So just articulate it now because that's where you're going to get the result. And then that's where long term people like Jason Abrams are going to ask you, like, what are you doing? You're getting so much engagement, right? You're getting so many people reaching out to you, or you have this tight knit group. How are you doing that? Cue elevator pitch, right? And the length is huge. Like it's got to be short. Um, I will always push back on that. There are spaces for an editorial if I want to, because I appreciate that. I have a journalism background. I love writing. And if there is a space where maybe I want to write something, then that's fine. That is more suited for a blog. I can summarize it in my newsletter. And if you want to go to my blog to learn more, here's the link. You can go read there. But for everybody else, you're creating a more engaging piece of content and providing value.
Mhm.
Did that
One
answer
more
your
question.
question?
Yeah, that was perfect. Do you put properties in those newsletters? Or do you send
Yes.
separate, you put properties like your listings and stuff in there?
Yes, I think that's a great idea. Every state is different as far as the rules of advertising other listings that aren't yours. But as listings that are yours, you have written permission from the seller to market that property all day. You definitely want to let your people know that you're a busy agent, like that you're doing stuff, right? You have other clients than them. Good question. Thank you so much. Because I'm sure other people had that question. Okay, we're almost to the checklist. So, Melanie, what's your question?
Would it be okay in the newsletter to put, like, if you have a buyer that maybe it's a kind of a hard property to try and find for them, would that be
Yeah.
something that you would say to then include in the newsletter? Like, hey, I'm working with this buyer. Does anybody know of somebody that might be selling this type of a property?
Yeah, you could totally do that. I'm glad that you asked that because as I said, I have a clear plan of what my newsletters are twice a month. It doesn't mean that I have a very regimented no policy on adding something else. If I have a client, like I have this really cool niche piece of land that's zoned for X, Y, and Z, and I just know there's an investor in my SOI that might want to chat about this, like, yes, that is a great opportunity.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. No, thank you for that question. That's a good one. Okay, so just last thing, net sentiment for different marketing methods. So I'm going to try to move my little Zoom thing because I want you to be able to see that, or I want to see it. Okay, so video. There is, everyone's loving video, right? So video is the number one thing. Email marketing, again, social media is taking a tiny dip. SEO, print media, cold calls, door knocking. I don't know about you, but I looked at this list and I'm like, yeah, like I know I need to lean into video more. I know email marketing is it. And I know, like this makes sense to me. Nate, do you have a thought? I feel like
Uh,
as soon as I said something, you had a
I
thought.
think you answered it
Okay.
as I raised my hand, but my question was, is this the net sentiment for recipients on the marketing end or the agents putting out that marketing? But it
So
sounds like it's the agent.
all these surveys are from the agent.
Perfect.
So let's just say this differently. The agent's like, oh, I know I need to focus on video more. Like this, like they almost responded saying, yes, video is it. Video is king. Like this is that chart. And maybe you disagree, but this is the pool of top agents reviews. Okay. So the fun stuff, in and out for 2025. Okay, again, this isn't Kimber writing it down. These are agents that have just given feedback, right? So in for 2025, I love this in list. Out, we might battle on a couple of things. Okay, so I'm just warning you. But in for 2025, authenticity and caring. This is probably one of my favorite quotes. So much my favorite that I have it memorized, and sometimes I still mess it up, but I'm going to try to not mess it up. Gary Vaynerchuk is a big content creator. He goes by Gary V. If you look him up online, on YouTube, on Instagram, he's everywhere. His quote is, on authenticity is the best indicator of longevity. And I could not agree more. You being authentically you as a real estate agent, as a marketing director, as a transaction coordinator, as the operations manager of said team, you being authentic with your people is what is going to draw out your business. Like your business will last longer and be more profitable if it is you and it is not the trying to be somebody else. Blogs with rich content. So this could be defined as different things. Again, I'm going to define blogs with rich content of, is this a summary about something that I care about? When I say I, it's not me, it's my people. A write-up about something that they care about, having links to other things, to maybe different sites that source this information. Maybe I'm talking about all of the cool pumpkin patches, and I have those pumpkin patches business websites linked on my blog. That is a blog with a rich content. And again, the consistency that you can build, I would argue that once a month and non-negotiable, you did a blog versus you were really good for 3 months at doing 2 blogs and then you dropped off for 4 months. That first strategy is going to be longer, even though the net might be, you might have written more blogs with the other one. We can't predict anything these days, it seems like. It feels like volatility sometimes. And so being able to predict things is how people start to engage with us. The other big thing is it's how they start to trust us. And that's how they're going to transact with us eventually. Engaging in the comments. So it is in for 2025 to time block, again, social media is a rabbit hole, time block for engaging in your sphere's comments. So it is if they post something about their kid's birthday party and they say, it was Eve's birthday party today and we did all this and I can't believe that she's grown up so much. It is as simple as you scrolling through and just clicking on comment and say, happy birthday, Eve, exclamation point. All that says to the person is, I care. My name showed up and I used their child's name. So even though they said their child's name a minute ago, it just shows like I care and I know you. Promoting other businesses intentionally. This one's huge. And a lot of my agents locally are really good at this. So you already probably as real estate agents, or if you don't, please put this on your list, are intentionally engaging in either referral groups, business networking groups to connect with other business owners as more or less a reciprocity relationship. Like, I am going to refer you business. I am now the top agent in mind for you, and you refer me business. So, promoting other businesses intentionally, your favorite handyman, that is a way not only that you can engage with more people to grow your database, but any post that is collaborating with somebody else, it just duplicates your engagement, right? If I collaborate, if I do a post and I collaborate with one of my agents, then now not only do my followers see that, their followers see that. Another in for 2025 is various content that portrays your business and brand. Said differently, like let people get to know you. No, not the business you, the you, right? Like, are you the person that the agent that can't go outside without stopping and getting a coffee? Like, just let us see that, right? Like, because then guess what? I relate. And now I'm like, I get you. Are you the agent that's very particular about showing up early or how signs look or how stuff is staged? We already know you are, but does everyone else know you are? Just start showing those things. Start showing those little, dare I say, like quirks about your personality, because it's actually, again, another way people connect with you and trust you. Micro events, we talked a little bit about that earlier. They're just in for 2025. And depending on the money that you budget for it, sometimes depending on the client too, you can get a really good ROI on something like that. And you're not having to host these very large events. Working your CRM daily. There's an agent on this class that's like, you're lying. That's very nerdy to be in my CRM daily. It is not. If you even just, again, it's like one of those things. I personally force myself to work out. That's my goal for 2025. We're just going to try to do 30 minutes of physical activity every day. I am forcing myself at the beginning. And then once it becomes a habit, it almost feels uncomfortable not to do it. Please. So 2025 starts now. I got told that in a business planning clinic yesterday, and I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate. So 2025 starts now. And so today is when you're going to start putting in scheduling, the calendar, the habit of working your CRM daily. It will feel so painful, but I bet if you start it now, by the time 2025 actually starts, it will feel normal and you'll feel like you didn't do anything unless you were in your CRM that day. I am excited about this one. In for 2025 is handwritten notes. So personally, I take pictures of handwritten notes and post them on social media. Like, that's just how impactful those are. I usually remember the people that are writing me handwritten notes, especially if they write me more than one a year. So also very low cost impact stick out moment if you have a handwritten note. That's also a great strategy to get someone's address that you don't already have. It was so great to meet you guys. I wanted to send you a little thank you. Where can I mail that? versus can I have your address so I can send you relentless postcards for the next 12 months? That might also be true, but that's not what we're saying, right? The what's in it for me is where we deliver that. And then we'll just go through outs really quick, but the last ins for 2025 video content about local areas. The reason why that's so in is because at the end of the day, all you're telling people is I am out in the community and oh, by the way, this is where I sell real estate. And you're like, but they already know. Well, maybe they don't. Maybe I'll just pick on our geographic area. There are some areas that are 45 minutes away, heaven forbid, that I bet agents would refer out to because 45 minutes is too long, apparently. And that's fine. But if I'm an agent that just really talks about specific areas, I start to attract the areas that I actually want to drive to and sell to and not refer out to. And then clarity of value added to the transaction. This is, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I will just say write down page 94 and 95 of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It talks about the value that you have to buyers and sellers. And the MREA talks about being able to articulate that to anyone at any time. So in is clarity of the value you add as a real estate agent. I think sometimes we add a little bit of imposter syndrome around that. We're like, oh, there's an agent that's so much better than me than that. Well, if there is an agent that's better than you, and maybe you define better than you as they sell more than you, but you end up getting very articulate about your value proposition, you may attract more people at the end of the day or the next year, right? And then out for 2025, this one's a little controversial. Just trying to be an influencer instead of a realtor. I can argue with you that being an influencer and having a lot of followers never hurt anybody, right? It is a positive thing. This isn't me here arguing that that's not a positive thing. However, the focus on the focus away from selling real estate is out for 2025. Like, you are an agent, you're going to have clear value on what you add to the transaction. And you're going to tell people consistently, and you're going to show up for them more often by following just a traditional 36 touch. And we're not going to focus on all the other things, which guess what? That doesn't tell me all those other like influencer things that doesn't tell me that you're a great real estate agent that can help me sell my house for the most money possible. Client events that don't work for client base, self-discover on that, but it's like holding a very family focused event all the time when your sphere doesn't reflect that, right? Look at your sphere, look at who they are, look at what they need. The more you provide what people actually need and what they're asking for, the quicker you connect with them. Everyone claiming to be number one something, right? I am the number one, whatever. I am top 5, whatever. Like, there's so many awards we get, and awards are awesome. I do not like to be overlooked for awards. I love to be recognized. But how you do business and your integrity in your business and in a real estate transaction, it always wins over trophies. And then overdone Instagram reels, that is where you can interpret that as you may. But that was just what the agent said. I picture maybe those reels that are like low-key picture film, like motion pictures. But it could be interpreted differently. Interpret it how you want. And then predictable social media. Quote Monday, motivational Monday, wacky Wednesday, stats Friday. I have been a creator of predictable content before. So I am self-discovering on this. We're going to be a little bit different this year. We're going to stand out. Okay, we have 4 more minutes. So this is just a quick, like, here's what real estate professionals predict for 2025. These are actual quotes from agents. New compensation disclosure will be back to 9 out of 10 listings with unhealthy number of bids, right? If rates go down, I might agree. Competition for listings will increase. Transparency will help the image of realtors. We'll see more specialized roles, sales versus value add camps forming, fewer part-time agents. I probably would agree with that. A massive resurgence of buyers when rates slide down to 6.25, even lower. So I think we're probably all feeling this, but these are our people. I love this one. Early trained and educated AI adopters will pull away from their competition. Ask yourself, am I a trained and educated AI adopter? If you are not, who do you need to know? What class do you need to attend to be that? Because in 2025, that will get you a little bit ahead or a lot ahead. And then here are just some of the changes we expect to see, again, from the survey. Increased investment in digital marketing, growing importance of strategic social media use and email marketing, continued optimism about income potential, changing business models, and potential shifts in professional affiliation. Be prepared to compete with agents who are spending an average of, let's just round up, 12% more on marketing in 24 than they did the previous year. If you're currently spending less than $2,500 annually, consider increasing your marketing budget to stay competitive. Again, this is just based on the data. Regularly review and adjust your budget based on performance metrics and return on investment. There is also another page in MREA that talks about playing red light, green light, and seeing if you're getting an ROI on anything that you're doing. Nate Sassy.
Question on the budget. So if I
Yes.
have like a content creator, like you likely wouldn't include salary in that budget, right? Like the budget you're talking about for marketing would be like more like SEO optimization and having a little bit more of a customizable site and some of those costs involved with doing the newsletters is that and like some boosted ads, is that right?
I guess if Gary Keller's like bringing this to his top people, he's probably not including salary. I do think in this budget, as far as for this survey, unfortunately, I feel like we're prioritizing it that little as real estate agents because you can do the math. $2,500 annually is not that much per month. So I would say conservatively start with the check-in. Am I spending at least $2,500 annually in order to strategically market? In your case, and Nate, because you're a local agent, I do know about your business. That's basically you leveraging the strategy. You do not have that person also running errands for you and getting your dry cleaning and like doing your transactions. So in your case, I personally would count for that. And it's because you have such a strategy for that leverage. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, perfectly. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So then we're at time. I'm just going to quickly show you guys this. We're going to put it in the chat if we haven't already, and then I'll quickly check the chat before we leave. So we will just post in the chat the Canva template for this. So this is your checklist, your takeaway. So what we talked about today, the ins and the outs, your 5 for 25. And I purposely left blanks right here because I want you to analyze your own business strategies. Obviously, we're talking more about marketing than everything else. There's a lot to analyze with your business. But for your content marketing, your messaging, specifically, go in and identify maybe 2 or 3 things in the ins and outs category that you're going to potentially expire, and then maybe that you're needing to implement based on what you've seen is in it's nice that we're always surrounded by other amazing agents that share ideas. So there could be something else that someone's doing in your office that you want to put as your ins, but then let this be kind of your guide for setting up what your strategy is for marketing for 2025. And so you will get this. Let me just, okay, so we did link it in the chat. And I did mention like it starts now. Mike Walters, he's top agent. I know personally said the same thing. The reason why January is always the hardest month statistically, I mean, just knowing what I know about our market center numbers is because we all just let off the gas in November and December. It is all about the turkey and all about the shopping. And then in January, we kind of can figure out how to pay for it. Not you, not this year. You're going to have the strategy and plan in place. Nate asked, would top creators consider 5 stories, 5 posts? Personally, how I would do that is, again, like if I'm doing these videos, I have a long form video, maybe I have it split up into different reels. I'm always going to post it through the platform, like through Reels, and then I might share it to stories. That is usually the strategy that I implement, mainly because the scrolling habits that all of us have, sometimes we scroll this way, but a lot of times we scroll this way, which is we click on the story and then we go from story to story. So again, and not or, I'm going to do both so that I will capture people regardless of their scrolling habits. And if they end up doing both, that's a benefit. Like I just layered the message because they saw it twice. So I think I got everything. Consistency, huge. Awesome. Okay, any other questions? And I will send everybody the recording that attended. Okay, grab that checklist. We'll send a follow-up, but grab the checklist, the Canva template before you jump off the Zoom today. And then I appreciate being around all of you. Keller Williams, there's just cool cats around you at any given time. So let me know. I'm gonna put in the chat. I should have done this earlier. Grace, can you link the checklist one more time? I think we just had a couple of people join late. Thank you. And then I just put in my email address. If you guys have any follow-up questions, please feel free to email me, reach out to me. But 5 for 25. Let's go do it. Okay, we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Thank you.